Hi, my name is Marianne Taveros and I'm taking geography, and we have to present this. And my presentation, I was given Norway. So here's my presentation on the country of Norway. The country of Norway, fun facts, actually goes by different titles also, such as the Kingdom of Norway, also known as Norge, and the country itself is actually spelled N-O-R-E-G. So within the country, it's known as Norge and not Norway. It's only the way that foreigners might call it. It's also home to a small town called Hell. Norway is 98% powered by hydroelectronic power plants, and that's due to the fact that there's just so many rivers and the landscapes give that natural resource away. Norway has been a neutral country in most wars, such as during the First World War. Some other facts of Norway: the country stands as a constitutional hereditary monarchy, similar to that in England, so no political power, but all the ceremonial stuff. They drive on the right side of the road, like most Scandinavian countries, and the northern part of Norway actually goes further than Finland. So if you can see up here, this is Russia, and this is Finland. So where Finland kind of almost cuts off the rest of Norway, there's still a part of Norway that dips in almost like a boot and sinks its heel into Russia. It's interesting enough. Oh, sorry, almost forgot. Another fact is that there is actually no exact distance of Norway from this point, from its highest point, most northern point, all the way to its southern point. Due to the format of the country, just the way the landscapes are, the terrain is so vigorous and it's so developed and it's all over the place that it makes it difficult for almost all people to actually be able to measure and map out correctly the terrain of Norway. Territories. Territories in Norway, we have two right off the coast of Norway, up on the Arctic area, and they're located in Svalbard is located north of the mainland in Europe in the Arctic Ocean, between the Greenland Sea and the Barents Sea. Off the coast of Norway, a small population of just around 3,000 people. Jan Mayen is a small volcanic island with just about 620 miles away from the North Cape, Norway. The island is filled with mountains, and the highest summit being the Burbenik volcano. It is used to gather natural resources such as gravel for economic use, and it does not have any permanent residents. Norway's dependent territories now come more onto they're in the Antarctica area. There you go, I'm sorry. You have two islands, and then you have the two islands are Bertevitoi, claimed in 1927, no residents there, mostly just covered in glaciers. And then you have another volcanic island, the Peter Island, claimed in 1929. And then you have Queen Madu Land, claimed in 1939, that is 1/6 of Antarctica, used for research purposes. So Antarctica is mostly kind of chopped up into peaks and slices due to the latitude. And so these latitudes are the ones that separate Norway. Most of the islands are covered in glaciers with no permanent population, and they're just used for research purposes. The climate in Norway is very interesting. One part of Norway has a maritime climate with cool summer, mild winters, nearly 90 inches of rain. While you have the eastern part of Norway, sheltered by the mountains, giving warm summers, cold winters, and around 30 inches of precipitation. The average temperature in the west coast region is 45 to 54 degrees, north of the Arctic Circle, and temperature of 43 degrees. A phenomenon that you get in Norway is the midnight sun. Due to the fact that the Arctic Circle, about to the north side, its longitude is actually shared with Alaska. So longitudes are the little long parts that go around the sphere, and so they're shared with Alaska's on the other side. And even though they don't have the same harsh cold as Alaska, and that's due to the fact that they have the Norwegian current that comes in from the Gulf Stream and keeps the fjords from freezing. The fjords are these very beautiful long rivers, and they go all over Norway, and they should be frozen like glaciers, but due to the Norwegian current, they're kept at warm climates. And due to the fact that Norway lands on the Arctic Circle, you have the phenomenon known as the midnight sun. 24 beautiful hours of nothing but sun. It never goes down. This isn't every day of the year, obviously. This is for some time of the year only. The language in Norway is called Norwegian. It is part of the Germanic languages. In Norway, they also speak Danish and some Swedish. The second language, though, taught in most schools does tend to be English, and it does the alphabet itself does also have a few extra letters than the Latin alphabet. The population in Norway is approximately 5.4 million people in Norway. Most of the population in Norwegian descends from its ancestors of Norway. About 60 to 70% of them do have blue eyes, however, so it's a trait that most Norwegians share. The highest reported growth rate was in 2015, and it was 1.25. And this number would indicate that there's a relatively low growth rate, right? And the population ain't going to be doing so good further on. However, due to the fact there's so many migrants coming in and out of Norway, the population levels have remained very steady and don't seem to decline at all. The location of Norway, so relative to this location on this map right here, Norway is located in the northern Europe, sharing land borders with Sweden, Finland, and Russia. Located in the North Atlantic Ocean, which should be just right area here, I'm sorry. Sharing the Norwegian Sea with Iceland, which is its partner right here, and you can also see the Arctic Circle kind of sweep across it. And the North Sea with the United Kingdom, which is right down here. Also occupies the western half of the Scandinavian Peninsula, which would be also down here. And you have that Norway also has one time zone only, the Central European Summertime Zone. That's what it's called. This is the capital of Norway. Also, it is home of the Nobel Peace Prize. The biggest city in Norway has been the capital since 1814, and actually 3 different cities in Norway have claimed to be the capital before. And also holds the biggest population, just over 1 million, I believe. Urban versus rural. At the beginning of the 21st century, 4/5 of the population lived in towns and urban areas. As a result of migrants that I mentioned earlier, moving in from African and Middle Eastern areas due to the Syrian war. During the 2010s, they saw an influx in the population in the urban area. Since 2018, it's been reported that 17 to 50% of the population live in rural areas. So people tend to live together in communities more than they actually do to live on their own. The currency used in Norway is called krone. Originates from the word crown, Latin, abbreviated as NOK. No euros are not accepted in Norway, and 12 NOKs, which are 12 krones, are the equivalent of $1. Also, they only hand out krones in sections of 50s, 100s, I believe it was 200, 500s, and thousands. They don't hand out any ones. The religion in Norway is about 80% of them are Lutheran, establishing the Norway Church. The largest parties outside of Lutheran tend to be the Roman Catholics, Lutheran Free Church members, Jehovah's Witness, and the Baptist. Other major cities in Norway are the Bergen, located on the west coast, and the second highest population of nearly 400,000, with a long history stretching back to the 14th century. The city is also known for its successful fish markets, and Stavanger, associated with the oil industry and the largest company, a population of 1,000, ranking in as the third largest population in Norway, known for its famous sites such as the Norwegian Petroleum Museum. Figureheads in Norway are the Prime Minister Erna Solberg, part of the Conservative Party, was elected in 2013. She holds the most senior position in the government. And then you have Harald V in the King of Norway. Duties of the monarchy are largest ceremonial. He assumed the throne in 1991. Because then, what I thought was interesting when I did the research for Norway is that he actually had 2 older sisters, but when he ascended the throne, it was still they still had this rule that kind of went on that if there's a male birth, he has to be king. About 10 years after, so in 1998, they just passed it where you didn't really matter what gender you are, the firstborn will now be the ascending throne. So whether you're female or male, you're gonna ascend the throne, doesn't matter. Also, coincidentally enough, this guy is the one that he married a commoner, which was very controversial for him. People said that no, you couldn't do that, and he even threatened Parliament saying, well, you know what, if I can't marry my commoner, I ain't gonna marry no one. They ended up marrying some lady that was not of royal birth. Economically in Norway, they do not rely on agriculture. Also, this is what a fjord kind of looks like, rivers like this. They do not rely much on agriculture. Farming isn't really used much. The wood industry does thrive in Norway because forest makes up such a large portion of Norway, mostly in spruce. The fish industry also does really well since Norway is a coastal nation, and the economics mostly depends on the petroleum industry. And incidentally enough, Norway's GDP is the highest among the Scandinavian countries. Historical sites, most notable places in Norway are the Norwegian Royal Palace, completed in 1849, the Askrift Forest, also acting as a castle in the 14th century, and the castle itself, it's really interesting because it has a Norwegian and Danish mix, and it's all very medieval. The Unistave Church, perhaps the most famous, has been inspired even Minecraft enthusiasts. I call it Minecraft enthusiasts because Minecraft takes a lot of effort. And so this is probably, everyone's seen this somewhere on Instagram. It has a very interesting vibe to it, kind of like rustic, Viking-ish, but you still got the crosses in there, very medieval, and then you get people on Minecraft trying to do something similar to it. Transportation in Norway relies heavily on public transportation, mostly buses and ferries. They also, Norwegian ship owners hold the largest merchant fleet in the world, and it's a coastal country running from the south end to the north end. I'm sorry. It also holds the world's largest road tunnel. The Lardarian-Urland Tunnel is 15.2 miles long and opened in the 2000s, linking Oslo and Bergen. So in this map, you'll see that Bergen is all the way down here. You'll see Oslo all the way down here. And so somewhere in that road, there's a 15-long road tunnel that helps them get together. So just carved into like a hill. And so there you go. This is my presentation on Norway. Thank you for watching.